Good evening, ladies. How's it going? It's nice to be with you again. So I have a topic tonight that I want to cover that I think is super important. And while I'm waiting for any other ladies who want to jump on, I am going to go ahead and say my disclaimer that I need to say when I do these live events on Facebook. Try to get my camera in the right angle. All right. So today, anything I say tonight is health information. It shouldn't be construed as health advice, not specific health advice. Do not start taking or stop taking or change the way you are taking any of your medications. And if you feel like you need to, please consult with your prescribing practitioner so that they can help you make those appropriate adjustments. And attending this Wellness Wednesday does not establish a doctor-patient relationship. All right, there we have it. So I know a lot of you ladies are dealing with thyroid issues, and many of you may not know how the halogens participate in that. So I'm going to be discussing halogen toxicity. Halogens, if I take you way back to chemistry and I don't know, 8th, 9th grade, maybe later, maybe you tried to get away without taking it. Fluoride, chlorine, or I should say fluorine, chlorine, and bromine, as well as iodine, are the halogens. All right. If you remember the periodic table of elements, fluorine is at the top, bromine is next, chlorine is the third lower, and then iodine. Well, we know how important iodine is for thyroid toxicity. So I'm going to be discussing the top three, fluoride, chlorine, and bromine with you, because of how toxic they can be to our thyroid and thyroid function. They run rampant in our environment, right? They're in everything. I'll get into that in a little bit. I'll elaborate on that. They compete with iodine, which affects thyroid function. And I'll actually share my screen in just a moment and help you see some of this, so you kind of get a visual. So because they're everywhere in our environment, we have to be careful, about what we're taking into our system. So because iodine is essential to thyroid, and these other three compete, meaning what iodine forms to or binds to, these others will bind stronger. Okay. So they affect thyroid function. They also affect liver function. So when the liver is converting T4, which is our storage form of thyroid hormone, into triiodothyronine, or T3, the active thyroid hormone, this can get in these halogens can get in the way. If iodine is plentiful enough and these other halogens are not present, then they won't interfere as much with that process. Due to every cell's needing thyroid hormone, you've got to think about this. Imagine how your cells could be functioning better to make energy, to turn on those metabolic motors, if these competitors were removed, eliminated, avoided, etc. So this is why these elements are known as endocrine disruptors. So the thyroid is a key endocrine organ, as is the pancreas, as is the liver, because of their vital roles in cellular metabolism. Hold on one second. It never ceases to amaze me why we have placed so much emphasis on figuring out how diabetes and insulin resistance works, but why we look so narrowly at the thyroid and its key function in our body's metabolism. So if we can understand this part a little better, this can be a key to recovery. So thyroid is almost like that redheaded stepchild that gets neglected and forgotten. We really need to look at this deeper and figure out why we have so much trouble with it. And understanding these halogens can be a key to that. Fluoride, bromine, and chlorine also cause things to look different in the body and in the thyroid. The immune system will see things differently when it comes to thyroid hormone affected by these halogens. So let me share the screen here. And okay. So what you're looking at is the formation, the formed thyroid hormone, T4. So you've got these two amino acids, tyrosine amino acids, together, kind of bonded together, and four, count them. Here, let me get my cool laser pointer out. 1, 2, 3, 4 iodines that make a T4 hormone. So what happens if you replace one of these iodines with a stronger binding fluorine? Well, just to visualize that, we have the same configuration, T and T, these two tyrosines, 1 iodine, 2 iodine, 3 iodine, 4 iodine. No, we've got a fluorine that may take the place of the iodine molecule. And so is this really the same as T4? How is the immune system going to look at this? Is it going to accept this as normal? Not likely. So if this is encased in a thyroglobulin, I'm going to draw that if I can. I'm going to try. If this is encased in a thyroglobulin, so T, G, and this is the carrier, the protein that carries it. Well, if the immune system sees this and it looks funny, then it's going to put a flag on it. Flag on the field, right? And this would be a thyroglobulin antibody, okay? So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about Hashimoto's. So Hashimoto's is defined as positive blood levels of antibodies to the thyroglobulin or to TPO. TPO is what puts these together. So if we draw TPO here, and this is the enzyme that helps put this together. Now this is T3, or is it? It may have a bromine attached instead of another iodine. So 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 spots that should be taken up by iodine. Well, maybe one of them's not. And so we're going to see something different. The immune system is going to see something different. It looks similar, but it's different, and it doesn't look good. Okay, so this enzyme helps put this together. And what if, let me change the color again. So we've got this enzyme carrying this bromine to put this together, okay? And the immune system sees this as different. It should be seeing, let me try this here, it should be seeing this with the iodine attached. This enzyme would, and I'm greatly simplifying this, but this is kind of what the the gist is, it should be carrying this iodine to attach here, but instead it's carrying the bromine, okay? And that is going to cause this to look different and behave differently, and your body's not going to be able to use it as much, okay? So let me hop back to just sharing with you guys. Hopefully, seeing a little bit of a visual is helpful. So I do have a video link that I can share. I'm going to figure out how to share that if I copy that. And I'm going to place it in the comments in the Facebook group. So this video is an interview with a gal who has studied fluorine, okay? And I have studied it and endorsed the information that is shared here. This video relates to the water we drink, and I'm going to talk about what we should drink, and why, you know, obviously, which is highly important for proper pure hydration, and how that plays a role in your body's health and detoxification. And now this video also relates to the toothpaste we use, okay? Because it contains fluoride. Now, we are often better off drinking distilled water, and we would have to replace, if we really want to get minerals in the water we drink. It's not necessary if we are taking extra minerals, but it certainly can be a good thing to do to replace the minerals. So either that or drinking purified RO filtered water, which you can buy at a lot of different grocery stores. You can buy it here locally in Idaho at Winco Foods or at Walmart. And there are a couple other resources that I wanted to just let you have concerning water systems. So there's freshwatersystems.com. There's a blog about that, about reverse osmosis. And then there's a Berkey filter. You can look up Berkey, Berkey filters. So in order to truly filter out the fluoride and the bromine and the chlorines, you need to have you need to get the ceramic filters for those. So those are some good resources. Foods that are high in fluoride would be like grapes, black tea, poultry bones, especially if they're not organic. This is the key. If they're not organic, including poultry broths like chicken broth, shellfish, stews, potatoes, of course, tap water. Okay. Most of our city water supplies, wherever we live, are fluoridated. It's very difficult to find some place that is not using adding fluoride to the water. You all heard about the Flint, Michigan disaster with the deformities that were being in newborn babies, and the lead poisoning that was occurring. This was in fact due to fluoride in the city water, because fluoride is it has to be stored. You'll see in the video, it has to be stored very carefully. They take great pains and the right types of containers to store fluoride because it is so corrosive. And that's what was happening, is the fluoride was corroding the pipes down to past the layer that protects, and then causing the lead to leach into the water. And so there was all this lead poisoning that was occurring. I actually don't think the Flint, Michigan thing was not related to deformities. I'm thinking of another story with related to glyphosate. So I'm not sure how that snuck in, but I've had a long day. Anyway, the problems that they were noticing with lead toxicity because of the fluoride corroding away the pipes, the city pipes, okay? And it was affecting the whole city. What was interesting is the media did not really let you know that this was also happening in several other cities at the same time that had about the same times had started instituting widespread water fluoridation practices. And there were like 32 different cities around the country that this was happening in. All right, so thyroid disruptor. There was a journal article called Thyroid Disrupting Effects of Old and New Generation PFAS, PFAS. And this was found in the Frontiers of Endocrinology journal. Now, I'm just going to read this part of the abstract. So I'll explain it. Let me read it first, and then I'll kind of put it into better, pure English. Per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, that's what PFAS stands for, represent a group of synthetic compounds widely used in industry plants due to their low grade of degradation, surfactant properties, thermic and flame resistance. These characteristics are useful for the industrial production. However, they are also potentially dangerous for human health and for the environment. PFAS are persistent pollutants accumulating in waters and soil and recoverable in foods due to their release by food packaging. Okay, so these substances, these PFAS, they are used in, so they're slick, they keep, so surfactants are sealers, thermic and flame resistant, so heat resistant and flame, obviously fire or flame resistant, coatings on different products like tents and just all kinds of things. So these are found everywhere, right? And sorry, I got a text that, okay, so I will talk about that. So if you are trying to, okay. I will cover those. They're just, okay. Those are good questions. I will definitely cover those. Okay. So because these are found, they're widespread, they're throughout the environment. These PFAS they're endocrine disruptors because of the fluoride in it. Okay, that's the issue. The fluoride is highly toxic. And the results of the study showed that there is, in fact, a toxic effect on the thyroid and endocrine function. Not the least important would be the following ways that that function is disrupted. Interference with thyroid hormone synthesis or production. TPO function, so that the thyroid peroxidase enzyme that I just showed you on the whiteboard, that its function to help you make the thyroid hormone. And iodine uptake. When you are full of fluorine and chlorine and bromine, you're going to have a hard time taking up the iodine from foods and ways that you get it to be able to help your thyroid to function properly. So you need to avoid fluoride toothpaste. Go to Revitin, or EVITIN.com for one of the only existing prebiotic toothpastes. I have since learned that there is another one, but I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it, and I didn't write it down. So it's fluoride free. It will promote healthy bacteria balance in your mouth. So it's not going to kill bacteria, it's going to balance it. And that's going to prevent unhealthy plaques and tartar from forming. And indeed it does. It really promotes the health of your gums. And if I mean, I wish I had some financial tie to it. I don't, but I do use it, and I have used it for years and years. Our whole family uses it. And yeah, very, very few, if any, cavities that I can recall with all of our kids using it and us, my wife and I. You could, so this will aid in the gut microbiome also to be more balanced. So the mouth microbiome is balanced. It helps the gut microbiome to be balanced. Now, you could also get baking soda toothpaste that's free of other chemicals like sodium lauryl sulfate, triclosan, and parabens. And so those would be acceptable solutions as well. Just don't get anything with xylitol, which is a sugar alcohol that some have said that it is okay. It is not okay. It actually is toxic to the bacteria in our gut. And so it will kill too much of it, kill too many of those bacteria that we need. All right, so now chlorine and bromine. Chlorine and bromine they're also in our water. So in our even in the shower water. So there are filters to be used in the shower, before the shower head, to filter out these halogens. Some people ask about, well, should I get a filter for the house, or should I get a water softener for the house? They're not a bad idea, but you just have to really make sure that the company you go with has good reviews, and that they really do what they say they're going to do. It is difficult to sometimes find the real answers about this, and that's opening a huge can of worms. And I don't think I'm going to field any more questions on that. But there are reverse osmosis systems that you can certainly have installed that do work very well, that filter water adequately, get most of everything out that you need to get out. Or distilled, or a distiller for and there are systems that do that. Even whole house systems that do distilled water, but those are very, very expensive. There are distillers that are small enough just to get you enough water for consumption, and those are good options as well, but they are pricey. So filters for the shower head are a lot more economical. Reverse osmosis systems, or if you can get, I know they come in plastic, and that's one of the things I don't like about getting distilled water from the store. But if you buy it and immediately transfer it to glass containers, then that can be a little better. Now, again, you might want to add minerals to that water if you're going, as you consume it, just to get the extra minerals that you need, that you would typically get from tap water. But with all this other junk in the tap water, it's bad. Okay, it's what leads to so much endocrine disruption in our bodies. Now they are in these chlorine and bromine molecules are in pesticides and other chemicals that I have mentioned in another either a Wellness Wednesday or the masterclass, in PCBs and dioxins. I think it was another Wellness Wednesday. Polychlorinated by bisphenols. So bisphenol A, for example, is not only is it an estrogenic molecule that is in plastics to make it softer and more easy to use, but it's also in shampoos and lotions, and dioxins as well. They're in all kinds of things, treated lumbers and lotions and other personal hygiene products that you ladies like to use more than we guys. All right, now, in order to avoid pesticides, you want to pay attention to the Dirty Dozen. You can look this up online to find the latest version of the Dirty Dozen. This lists the 12 most contaminated foods by year with pesticides, these types of pesticides. These are the foods that you should absolutely get organic or don't get them at all. That's really what I'm saying about those. There's also a clean 15, and so you can find that one as well on, these are both on Environmental Working Group, ewg.org, so you can find them there. So the clean 15 will have the cleanest, most organic vegetables and things, products that you could use. Just keep in mind that you do have to avoid some of these foods if you're eating low carb. You know, if you're not trying to load up with a lot of carbohydrates because of your goals to, you know, to drop the weight. All right, now if you use a lot of lotions, creams, etc., that you are using, which may be affecting, you know, that have these things in them, that this may be affecting your hormones and causing more insulin resistance. So I don't really have any particular brands I recommend. There are so many out there. There's a mountain of them out there. So many can be really good and others are definitely not good, but they have ingredients. If they have ingredients that include these things that we've discussed, the parabens, I've mentioned in the past phthalates, but bisphenols, the polychlorinated bisphenols, avoid them. Simply use something else. And like I said, if you do some research, you can certainly find some good products out there. You just have to read labels. So now, I want to tell you about a case. Actually, a mother had me evaluate her two children who were dealing with Hashimoto's already. They'd been diagnosed, and they were beginning to have, just as teenagers. One was about 13 and one was 16, and one boy and one girl, and they were swimmers, but they were complaining about increasing problems with fatigue and acne and just various complaints, not sleeping well, and of course they're into swimming and into competitive swimming. Well, I told them that their lifestyle, spending so much time in a chlorinated pool, was taking its toll on their endocrine function. The young girl, she was the younger, was having issues with her menstrual cycles. I don't honestly remember exactly what those issues were. I just know that she was having issues with that. Endocrine disruptors. Ladies, this is serious and really can impact your health overall. So if you attended the master class, you learned that thyroid function disrupts, affects hormone function. And certainly it can go both ways too, but if you don't fix thyroid function, then you're not going to fix the hormone function. And those of you who are dealing with, going in through menopause or in menopause and having symptoms, it's probably because of thyroid dysfunction, and these halogens can play a huge role in this. I can't count how many other successful cases I've taken on. Well, I should have mentioned that I did not take their case on, these two children, because they weren't willing to give up the lifestyle. Now, I understand how difficult and what that means. I obviously they were going to want to keep swimming and keep competing and so forth. But I had to, basically, show them the writing on the wall. Like if they were going to continue with that, I didn't think I could help them because they were going to be constantly putting themselves into the toxin bath that was the swimming pool, and they wouldn't get better. And I didn't want them to fail at that. And the parents understood, and I think the children did too. But like I said, thankfully, so many other successful cases that I can't even count. Those who have improved their thyroid function because we have helped them to avoid certain things, and they've gone through the right testing, comprehensive testing, and the right customized care program to help them get their thyroid function back and better. So, okay, now I know there may be some questions, and so let me see the comments. Well, the question is, can I show the periodic chart? To visually see why these three elements displace iodine. Well, I don't have a chart to show you. Well, let me try to find one. Second. Just pulled up the first one I saw, so hang on just a moment. Here we go. All right. So, so you see right here in this green, the green column on the right side of that periodic table. It's the only light green column there is. Fluorine is at the top, chlorine, bromine, and then iodine in the number 4 position there. So iodine has less binding affinity or strength of binding than does bromine. And bromine has less binding than chlorine. And chlorine has less binding affinity than fluorine. So fluorine's going to kick iodine's out of the way quick. All right. Chlorine's going to kick it out pretty quick too. All right. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay. So yes, different cookware coating, and there are I'll probably have to post a list sometime about, just off the top of my head, I don't have certain brands that I like. I don't mind cooking in cast iron if it's well seasoned, right? You're not going to leach as much iron into your food. Cast iron is probably going to be your best. Stainless steel, of course, is going to be safer than most other, like the Teflon coated pans. There are some newfangled coatings that we have looked at and are trying, and some of them work pretty well, and I think some of them are pretty safe. I just cannot think of the brands right at the moment. So maybe I'll have to do a daily live sometime and talk about those. So the oh, and the other filter that I think is good is the zero water filter, mainly because it filters out a lot of the pesticides and the herbicides that are in our water too. So that is a really decent filter. It's a cheaper filter. You keep it in the refrigerator. There's you have to just buy replacement filters for that system. So that's a pretty good system as well. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, there is lots to research out there. The question is, do you need to filter shower water? I mean, unfortunately, the hotter you get a shower and the hotter you like the shower water, the chlorine that's in the water will, I don't know if some of you have had issues with being lightheaded or almost fainting after a hot shower, but it definitely could be due to the chlorine gas that is emitted. I would say that if you just don't want to filter the shower water, just don't shower in so hot of water. It is a good thing to have, and there are some decent ones out there. I used to have a site, and I could probably find it and share it in the group comments, but I don't usually like to promote specific products, but it might not hurt to just give you some sort of a baseline to look at. And I don't even know if they're in business anymore. I'd have to look. This has been several years. So Brita filters, the question is, what about Brita filters? They are not adequate to filter out the fluoride and some of these other things, chlorine and bromine and so forth. I don't know if they've changed. I'm going off research that I saw years ago on that. The best filters during that research were the Berkey canister filters and the zero water filters. And like I said, certainly distillers are going to be even better, but they're a little spendy. So, okay, I'm going to ask if there are any further questions, and if there are not, I appreciate you ladies joining me tonight for this Wellness Wednesday. Hopefully this gives you a lot of food for thought, and remember, please have hope that you can feel better and get better. There are answers, and so there. I know there's a lot of information out there on Dr. Google, and I try to weed through that all for you. Try to share with you the information that I think is going to be helpful for you to make even better healthy choices. So remember that you still have the power to heal, and I will look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, ladies, and have a wonderful evening.